everyone. So, welcome back to my podcast. This is not going to be super long, or I'll try not to make it very long. But I had an exchange with someone, and believe it or not, rarely does my personal moments that I have in my life inspire videos. Um, but I figured this would be really, really, really good to teach you some things. Um, and I think it'd be helpful. So if you happen to watch this, you know who you are. But I appreciate the experience because it made me reflect on a lot, and now I can help others with the experience. So I'm thankful for that. Um, First, I want to say this. When it comes to walking in your gift, when it comes to operating in your talents and really putting yourself out there, I want to make sure you understand that few people ever will have the bravery to do so. And few may be many, but few is referring to the fact that most people in your life, it's not many people you can count that you know is brave enough to fully operate in their gifts, not under the hand of paranoia or analysis paralysis and things like that. So, really give it to people, really give people their honor and their credit for being brave, especially if you're not. A lot of people just don't possess the bravery or they're on that journey still. And honestly, a lot of us that do step out there and do operate in our gifts, regardless of public opinion and things like that, we're still on the journey. We just really understand the value of time and how precious that is, that we don't want to spend more time in the dugout worrying and fretting and panicking and being all paranoid. We know that the time that we have is so precious, so if I'm going to go through it, let me just try. And so some of us have, you know, the chutzpah to get up and do that by God's grace. But I want you to understand that it doesn't come easy, right? But one of the critical lessons I've experienced for a very, very long time, and it's partially attributed to the way I was personally raised and what I have seen growing up, is you don't owe anybody anything. I'm not talking about if you actually owe someone something. I'm talking about you don't owe the world anything for showing up and doing what you're gifted to do. You understand what I'm saying? Let me make an example to be more clear. For me, I long before you've subscribed to me, I've always just, even before I've been on social media, I've always been the kind of person that I love raw, honest conversation. I love to unravel the depths of why things are the way they are. Why do we think the way that we do? Why do I feel the way I feel? Why does the world operate this way? These things don't matter to everybody. Some people just don't have much up here other than what affects me, right? Then there are some of us that the deeper things of life matter to us beyond just the things that are selfish personally. And that being said, we will express it. We will raise the conversations. Um, the things that you hear me talk about, there's few people you probably know in your life that will even sit down and talk about it with you because they either don't possess the knowledge to discuss it, they don't possess the wisdom to discuss it properly, or they don't really have the interest. Granted, we do need to have these conversations, which I want you to consider. Maybe if you're having issues in your personal life with people, maybe that's why, because we're not having those real down to earth conversations that may require some accountability or self reflection. But that being put aside, whenever I do music or poetry or podcast or whatever I do that's public that I decide to share, understand something. This is what gets at the core of what I'm saying. The public, whoever is viewing and on the receiving end of what you do, especially if it is honest, good work, that is not tied to you and obligation. What I mean by that is you have a right to do both, to operate in your gift and also be cold turkey honest about matters if that's something that's important to you without having to dance around people. This is one of the reasons why I often express to you that if you're in friendships where you can't be honest, you can't be transparent, you can't be down to earth because you think that people will, excommunicate you or they won't want to be around you, then I would reconsider that environment, because you should be free to disagree with the people in your life and you still come back to loving each other. You should be able to make videos discussing hard discussions that may make them unhappy, but is still grounded in truth. When something is grounded in truth, it's not always going to make everybody happy, but it doesn't change the fact that it's true. Just like how you can come online and discuss hard subjects that other people should take into account, but also the ones talking about it. There's plenty of things that are important to me that I don't speak from a high horse. I'm also applying it and actively pursuing these things in my own personal life, but I just know how to articulate myself and bring the conversation to the table. Whether or not people think from hearing these things that the person thinks that they're perfect or they're better than them, that's a personal thing, right? Sometimes when people hear you have strong opinions, they hold it over your head as if, well, now look at you, look what you said. Not realizing that two things can be true at the same time, where you can have knowledge and understanding about a matter, but also have to live up to it yourself. The two things don't necessarily always come separately, right? But everybody don't have the capacity to rationally understand those kinds of concepts, but that still should not stop you from speaking the truth, being honest, being forthcoming, having these discussions. Does that make sense? One of the experiences I had, and I can share this because it's nameless, but this individual felt as though I was obligated to not do something distasteful to them because they supported me. And it wasn't the first time I've experienced that. But what they didn't realize is, if they knew me personally, or really listen to my podcast, because I think I do a good job of making clear certain values that I hold throughout my podcast. So that's sometimes how I can tell who really watches and pays attention to my content versus just kind of watching me in the background. Is if you really pay attention, certain things won't surprise you if we have interactions, because the way I am online is genuinely the things that I hold and I believe personally. But they had the misunderstanding that there's no way I will ever do anything to displease them because they've been loyal in the background supporting me. But the thing is this: you're a human being, I'm a human being. Anybody that you follow that makes video, make content, they're a public figure, we're all human beings. And at the end of the day, no one owes you loyalty. And no one owes you censorship because you've done things for them or because you've supported them. One of the things that a friend of mine told me that was so key is that if they had known me, they would know whether or not they support me, I'm still going to do what I do. You know what I'm saying? Whether or not someone is unhappy with a video that I post, and they decide to delete all the songs in their playlist of mine, and they decide to blacklist me, that's not going to stop me. Because two things are very important for me. My work, my art, my music is important, but also hard discussions is important to me. And sometimes it can turn people off, right? So sometimes you can do music, you can do art, you can do your gifts, and people really appreciate that and they receive that about you. But when it comes to you start talking, and now you're talking about hard subjects and things that they may get offended by, then they don't like when you talk. They just rather you just do your music. So for me personally, I really want you to take from that experience that I don't operate that way. If everybody unsubscribes because they don't like a certain opinion of mine, that is not like, it's not like a bad opinion, it's just distasteful. If they say, we're going to stop listening to Elijah because I found this out about him and I don't like that, or he did this to me, or he said that to me and I didn't like the way he said it to me, I didn't like the way he shook my hand when he saw me, or he don't respond to my messages. If these are the things that pull away support from anybody, I'm perfectly content with that, because the thing I want you to understand is You give people control, and I'm giving you this. So if you ever make videos, or if you put art, or if you put your gift out into the world, and people try to take control over you based upon what they give you in support or whatever it may be, understand this. People only have the control that you let them. True freedom is when you're not bound by the whims of people. So, people like myself, we understand that when you come online and you share things publicly, support is fleeting. There's plenty of people probably watching this that if they had a personal interaction with me, or if they knew me personally, they probably wouldn't like certain things. And that would probably make them pull away their support. Because people are finicky, right? It is very few people that is loyal. It is very few people that is intelligent. And when I say intelligent, I mean things like, for example, there are some people that when they find out certain things about their favorite singers, they go, oh, I can't listen to their music. Well, that's you. You know, certain things, if it's like major, maybe, I understand that. But there's plenty of things you don't know about many people that have sang songs and written songs that you like. So it's like to act as if listening to a song by a person that you don't really like certain things that they've done is even intelligent is beyond me. But these are the type of things that people do, and this is how they rationalize things. So this is why off the gate, I just didn't even expect loyalty or support from anybody. So when I got it, I'm just grateful for it. But that is not my end all be all, is what I'm expressing to you. You do not operate in your gifts based upon public validation and public support. You operate in your gift because you have the gift and you have the passion. Whoever falls off will fall off. Whoever sticks around will stick around. That's how that works. That's primarily why I don't bite my tongue about things that is important to me. And I'm not concerned about losing friends. There are plenty of people that keep distance from me because they just don't like my overall personality. They don't like many things about me, so they keep a distance from me. But I'm used to that because I would rather be the Elijah that I know that I am than tap dance around people so that they'll want me around them. These are the type of characteristics I encourage you to look at, to take a gander on, because these are strong characteristics that will keep you together, especially when support falls apart. Because again, you do not owe any of your supporters. I don't owe any. And I'm saying this too with, maybe it's my Caribbean side. I'm a little bit more on the aggressive side if you have never noticed that. But I don't owe any of you support. I don't owe any of you my unending loyalty because you listen to my music, because you support my podcast. All of that is wonderful. All of that is wonderful, and all of that is appreciated. I mean, I feel like I'm one of the few people I know that online always talking about thank you, thank you, thank you, because I'm genuinely grateful. I know what it's like to be left alone and pushed aside and not taken serious. So that's why gratitude is so center for me. But even while gratitude is so important to me, I'm not a pushover, and I'm not obligated and chained down to what the people want. I have done things and seen comments of people saying, do this, do that, you should do this, you should do that. I ignore what I don't want to do, and I take in consideration what I'm interested in. Because nobody, other than the Word and the Spirit, nobody dictates what I do, what I say, and the things that I'm interested in. I'm not interested in chasing views. I'm not interested in chasing support. I'm interested in operating in the gifts and the things that matter to me and let the chips fall where they may. And so I want to encourage you, that is how you take the power out of the public. You see people getting canceled and people get really, really popular and then they come crashing down because of one little thing, because they have put all their eggs in the support and validation of others. So don't misunderstand. If we ever have a personal interaction and I have to check you or put you in your place or something you did I don't like or something I do you don't like, we all have free reign to operate how we operate as human beings. Outside of feeling like I have to be this eternal servant to keep up an image. That's not the kind of life I want. I refuse to have to keep up an image for anybody, because that is living a people pleasing life, and that's not free. That's not free. That's not a free life, you know. So there's a lot of misunderstandings when it comes to doing these things, but I want to encourage you. Your gift is not given to you to be a form of bondage by the public. The public often think they have more power than they actually do, but it's we, the creatives, that give the public the power that they have to think that they can dictate every aspect of what we do and what we say and how we feel and the way we live. And that is the mistake a lot of people make. And it's the sacrifice a lot of people make. A lot of people make the sacrifice to change the truth about how they feel about things. They choose to put on a mask. They choose to be performative so that people will like them. And I know people like this personally. I know people like this in church. I know people like this out of church. I know people like this at work, that they do what it takes so that people will like them. And that's not even truly who they are. Because it's easier and it's safer to please people and be palatable so you don't have pushback. But we all have thoughts, we all have opinions, we all have ideas, and you're really not ever living until you live honestly with yourself. This is not something everybody will understand right away. This is not something people will even want to agree with. And this may be a grievous video, but it was something that I thought would be helpful to somebody. And I always say, if it's helpful to one of you, I'm satisfied. And if it's not helpful to any of you, it's helpful to me. But I appreciate it again. I really hope that makes sense to you. You do not owe people loyalty for support. You owe people gratitude. You don't owe nobody loyalty. Make sure you're clear on that, okay?